Okay. Call this meeting to order. Let the record show all members are present. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right, we have any additions to the agenda? None. Is there a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried in your packet are the minutes of the regular meeting of March 16, 2026. Are there any additions, corrections, or questions regarding those minutes? Hearing none, those stand approved as printed. We'll move on to the claims, and there's a sheet with the new ones and the more recent one. Do you have any questions on any of the claims, comments?
Oh, it's Department of Commerce, so we paid the PUC for the process there.
We sure do.
That was our second.
Your tax dollars. And my school. Oh, I missed that. I didn't
Because
see
it's in
that.
there.
Well, it's on this one. I hadn't gotten it.
This one.
I don't remember what line on this, but I'll
Say that,
$5,000.
Yeah, it's for the evidentiary hearing for the.
Yeah. There's some big fees on this.
It's our taxpayer dollars that work with them. It's like that's our specific tax dollars. State tax. It's for nothing to do for it. So cyclical, we get 60% of our revenue from the state of Minnesota and LGA, and then gotta pay them $10,000 and we get a pay back.
I had motion to pay the bills.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those no motion carried. Do you have anything for notices and communications?
Our tax assessments hearing, I had sent that out a while ago. I think that it's Wednesday, April 29th. That's
Yeah,
7
yeah, Board of Equalization.
You renewed your, so you're good for another 2 years.
I think
or 4.
Yeah, it was last year, I think so.
It's online. The department.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I knew.
So,
Yeah.
recently,
Not recently, but.
does it only last for 3 years?
Oh, used to be two, maybe three.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, it's 2.
And it's weird because I think I took it like in March last year or something, but it wasn't good for last year. Someone else was still current.
Yeah, I know.
I was good.
You were okay.
You probably have to do it.
Yeah. So I'm good for this, which makes sense because you January 2nd, January through January 1st. So
But yes, strongly encouraged to have a full forum there for that. Chad comes to, and everybody's valuation notices have gone out, and now the 26 bills, which 26 bills are going
Right.
Valuations for 27. More than that, and I haven't heard a whole lot of grumbling. So
Mine either stayed exactly the same or went down just ever so slightly.
mine went down tiny.
Yeah, most money was down.
Can't imagine anybody's going to.
So come on. I know.
Office over, and I said, no, that's the wrong one.
That's the December one. So all right. If there's nothing else on notice of communications, how about under pending there?
I think just to note that the process in which the PUC approved our natural gas acquisition is that they issued like this memo or proposed order on the 24th of March. And basically, if nobody said anything for 10 days, which they didn't, then on April 2nd's consent agenda, it wouldn't even be a audibly presented thing. It just was by proxy kind of approved. That's what happened. And so now we're waiting for the final signed order. And then right now, we're kind of behind the scenes working on the financing and get the ordinance drafted to enable us to regulate it and fee schedule and all that good stuff. And then find it. Looking at beginning of June for closing, all parties have kind of, so all parties being us, Northwest Natural Gas, Bank, which will likely be buying our bond, Taylor's, our financial consultant, and Taft, our bond counsel, and Kennedy Braven, our general. So, yeah, exciting stuff.
Okay. Anything else there, or does anybody have any comments or questions?
Thinking that when you're gonna be clean to work on the window one, you start the land center.
20th. So I just met with Ashley today. 20th, we're all, because I just got the survey back at the end of last week, and I met with her this afternoon to confirm that this is size and everything she wanted, easement through the parking lot and all that. Ready to convey over on the 20th.
Very nice. All right, if there's nothing else there, then we'll proceed on. We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. And Chris Webb's here to talk to us a bit about the safe streets for all.
Yeah,
Take it away.
yeah. So the presentation?
They got the presentation and they have a copy of the email, of the very first email, why we're here.
Oh yeah, so just real quick, yep, so my name's Chris Beth, so I work with the Southwest Regional Development Commission, with Road. I'm here to talk to you tonight about, it's called the Safe Streets for All Planning Grant. It's a federal grant opportunity through U.S. Department of Transportation. Just real quick, this is a grant just for planning and design work, so it doesn't cover any construction. It's just kind of put things in order and put them in a big document so that later you can go for stuff. So I'll kind of walk through it a little bit. If you have questions, feel free to stop me. So that first page, I think, is kind of talking about what's going to be in itself. So the primary thing we'll be looking at is crash data information. So city police officers, county deputies, state troopers, so whenever we fill those reports. Why did the crash happen? What were the contributing factors? All that stuff gets put into the state system. That spits that out. So we'll be looking at that crash data information, ticketing information, those types of things. We'll be looking at all that. We can look at our different segments in place. Second, I can't remember. I don't have it right. So, another thing that'll be on there is community engagement. So we'll be working with the community. We'll have kind of a steering committee that'll kind of be in charge of the whole process because this involves multiple counties. So right now, the Lincoln and Lyon are both in place, and then this we're kind of the third county that I'm going after. So we'll have kind of an overarching group that'll lead the planning effort.
So all of that, that'll just be one document with
all
the second one was mapping school routes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So the community engagement, so like I said, we'll have that kind of overarching steering committee that'll be in charge of the whole document, overarching piece. But then in each individual county, we'll do different focus groups or interviews with people that are targeted. So whether it be the school, city, different service organizations in town. So we'll kind of cover all of our bases as we go through that process with more local and stakeholder involvement that really comes clean. Yeah, mapping the school routes, that'll be a big part of it. So we'll work with in our traditional safe routes plans. We always do like a tallying. We do that with our school districts, and so that'll be a part of this process as well, where we do tallying with school district in the classrooms. So we'll ask questions like, how did they get to school? Well, how did they leave school? If they walked or biked, what was the route that they took? So we kind of map out how people in town are walking or biking to kind of get an idea. And that's a little bit kind of how it complements the active moving plan. That'll kind of be that mapping will go into the plan as we look at where our price points are. Again, so it's kind of taking that mapping the stakeholder involvement, and then also looking at the crash data. So we kind of get an idea of where people are walking, where they're biking. Are there crashes in that area? Are they not? Are they down the street? Are they at this intersection? So it kind of gives us a full picture using all three of them. So, did I miss one at the bottom?
Safety improvements and strategy.
Oh, safety for yeah. So that'll kind of be the last piece. So I did send out what current plan that was done in Monticello.
We don't have.
Okay, so what that kind of, and Josh can forward that to you, but really what that plan looks like is kind of at the end of the plan. That's where a lot of that design work comes in. So we'll work with an engineering firm, and they'll look at either 2 or 3 different sections in town, should say segments of like a road or an intersection. And so they'll say, okay, this is an intersection where we know people are walking. We know kids might be walking in this area. There's also been a crash here or a couple of crashes in the area. And so what can we do to make that safer for everybody at that intersection or on that segment of road? And so that's where the design work comes in. So that could be enhancing the crosswalk or installing an RFB, a rapid rectangular rapid flashing beacon, which are those yellow strobe lights you maybe have seen in different communities in Minnesota. And so maybe installing the flashing beacon is a good way to go. So those will kind of be recommendations at the end of the plan as we look at different road segments and those recommendations that we make there.
In the plan, when you look at the priority project list,
Yep.
is it going to be subcategorized per jurisdiction? Or is it going to be one huge list?
Yeah, so because it's 3 counties and it's all going to be one big document, how we envision it is going to be each county is going to have its own segment, right? So we'll have like this grand opening where we'll have like the acknowledgments page, and we'll have an introduction, and we'll have a section about here's all the different improvements that could be made to a road to make it safer. So we kind of have like that first section, and then we'll say, okay, part 1, Lincoln County, part 2, Lyon County, part 3, Murray County. So we'll split it off by counties, and each county will have your own specific section on the plan. Kind of have it section. We'll have it siphoned.
And
I think that makes the most sense.
priority lists per section.
Yes, yeah, per
Yeah,
section.
that-
Yeah, we're not just gonna throw everything at the back. I don't think that quite makes sense.
I agree.
We'll have each section will kind of follow a different outline, right? So we'll have what was our stakeholder engagement process? What's the specific county level crash data? And then we'll have your priority recommendations as we go. And like I said, I think it just makes sense to have the 3 kind of separate. It's got to be one big document, but we'll have it separate. Sure. I think it makes the most.
Makes sense as you read through it. You'll see what did this one
Yeah,
before.
and that'll help too, because then if say this document is up and someone's interested in the future, they'll be able to kind of find what they want right away versus having to read through a bunch of stuff they don't have to read through. Like somebody in Cottonwood isn't going to want to read through the Murray County stuff.
Right.
So they're like, it doesn't affect me. I don't want to do that. Yeah, so that's kind of what would be involved in the plan. Any other questions on what would be kind of a big document? Sorry, I just don't have it for me, so I'm trying to.
Oh.
What's on the next page? Hey, Josh, wow, there you go. Thank you, sir. Sorry, I wasn't pulled up, and they had it up on the screen, so which I passed down to here, but I wasn't for. Hey, yeah, page 2. Just talk a little bit about the grant itself. So that's the next page of the grant opportunity. So like I said, we got Lincoln and Lyon. Murray's kind of my third one. So different partners that will be involved with this. SRDC will be the lead agency and we're the grant applicant. Already talked with the other counties. Southwest Health and Human Services and SHIP would be highly involved. Well, and then as I said, we'll kind of work with a local engineering firm that would kind of handle that design process and those types of things. Everyone there. Talked a little bit about this, but the last page just talks about deliverables. So again, it kind of really these plans, you can kind of make them how you want them. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. We're kind of focusing on the safe routes to school. One, because that's what a lot of people are already familiar with. It's a big program that's in place. And it really kind of helps us. It helps to give us a good outline, right? So the safe routes plans have a methodology that we'll follow. They also have an outline for when those plans are put together. So that way we'll follow that too as well as we go. But also it would help us in that because the most likely place for future funding is going to come through the state, right? So whether that would be through like a Safe Routes to School grant or an active transportation grant, which is just for Greater Minnesota currently, and will probably stay that way for the foreseeable future. Or the third option would be a transportation alternatives grant, right? Now that's a federal grant, but it's awarded at the district level for MnDOT, so it's only eligible for applicants in this area, right? So those three things. So the way things are going, it makes the most sense to kind of follow that because again, those agencies and those people are used to seeing grant applications in this. So I think it will help people who are going to be applying for those grants in the future that we kind of follow their methodology, follow their outline. It'll help things line up in the future, like I said, because they're the most future priorities.
Just for your reference, Chris, we did get one of those.
Yeah, you got a TA one for the
28th Street. That,
Yeah.
that was just what I-
325.
that was
that was
2020
what
or
you said,
2024.
TD, what did you say?
TA, sorry, transportation alternatives.
Okay. So that wasn't the Safe Route to School. That's totally different. Or?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Because they changed the name of it, kind of. There used to be Safe Routes to School implementation grants, and then they rolled it into the TA.
Yep.
So long story short, our 2016 participation in this absolutely got us that money. That we were able to say, here's the grant application, and yes, this was priority number one. And then, okay, well, you check that box here.
Just to kind of go through the delivery, yes, we talked about the priority list. We'll kind of have that. We'll have that involved with the design work and again cost estimates, current cost estimates as you move forward. Implementation again just kind of lays it out for what you want to do when you want to do it, and then the expected timeline, which we talked a little bit about earlier, would be 2028 and 2029. So there's a very specific reason for that. So another entity in the state of Minnesota applied for this same grant program 2 years ago. It's another RDO, like similar to SRDC in North Run the state. So they applied, they were awarded the grant. So from the time they got the email saying, hey, yep, you've been awarded this grant, to the time when they signed on the dotted line, they could start actually doing stuff was 15 months from USDOT. So the timeline for these grants is just insane. So we're kind of following that. So our logic is, okay, so the grant is due May 26th. They would announce the award probably August or September. I kind of follow their timeline. So if they announce who gets it August or September of 26, 15 months from that is January of 28. So that's why we're going with this timeline, just because based off of previous grant awardees. It's just taking a really long time, a lot of back and forth between the agencies and the transportation things like that. So I don't know why that is. You can have your own assumptions, but it's taking that long. And so we just need to be prepared for that to be the case if we were to be awarded. So that's why. Yeah, it stings, but
I think most of us work in government for long enough to realize anything in 2 years is fairly fast.
So you said you met with the county board already?
right. So yeah. So so I'll track of time. So I just came from Fulda. So they voted to move forward. Didn't know where to go. But yeah. So I met with the Murray County board.
At what level?
1,500. I met with Murray County Board, just like a month ago at this point, Josh, I can't remember. It's about a month ago. And brought and talked to them about, participating in this, because it really would be a countywide plan. We would focus on Fulda and Slayton, but we could look at any part of the county that we would want to. So if the county had a intersection or a segment of road that a couple of different segments that were really important to them, we could look at those too. But the focus, because we're focusing on safe routes, would be Slayton. Anyway, and so the county board, Josh can relate to this. They didn't say yay all the way. Again, because it's the local match, right? And so because it's federal grants, 80-20. 80% grant, they looking for a 20% match. We are anticipating that each county's match would be about $5,000. So the county board said, well, why don't you talk to Fulton and Slayton and then you can get back to us. It's like, okay, fine, we'll do that. So the idea, and that's kind of what we went with Fulton too, is 1,500 from Fulton, 1,500 from Slayton, and then we go back and ask the county.
So when you do these, in the respective jurisdictions or others, the public meeting input part, is there one? Did I understand that
How do we
correctly?
go through the process?
Yes.
Yeah, so how it would be laid out is we would, like I said before, we'd have an overarching steering committee, and we'd have 2 or 3 people from each county that would sit on that kind of committee as we guide. But then each county, we would have specific focus groups interviews in each county. We would have, I couldn't tell you, the idea would be we'd have probably between 5 or 6 interviews or focus groups in each county. And those meetings would be with, we kind of talked to each county about how we wanted to set that up, but we would be with, city people, county people, township folks. We kind of set those up as focus groups, and then we do specific interviews. So, those would be our community engagement. We'd also do stuff, like I said, we'd also do tallies with the schools. As far as like a public hearing, you mean?
No.
Oh,
More
yeah,
the community
that's our
engagement.
that's our community engagement.
Yeah.
That'd be our.
What I was getting at is a question, we're on our comp plan here.
Yeah.
with the active living, how much of this is applicable to that? I mean, it's not gonna check off all of our active living plan stuff, but
Yeah.
it sounds like it'll
I
address
think the
parts of
piece
it.
that really complements the active living plan the most is kind of that design and site specific work that you would receive. So, for example, like I said, we look at 2 or 3 intersections or segments of road. So your active living plan is going to look at routes or where people go, or where you want to look at, or where you kind of want to focus on in the future. Where this plan would get much more specific and say, okay, this intersection,
Okay.
the design is going to include bump outs or an enhanced crosswalk or installing RFB beacons. So it's going to kind of give you the design layout of what that intersection would look like, and then it would give you a cost estimate based on today's dollars of what that project would cost if you were to implement that. And really, that's how it could complement your active living plan, to give you some of those more specific details. So that way, in 2030 or 2031 or 2035, if you actually want to do those projects and apply for safe routes or apply for more TA, that kind of sets you on a path to apply for those.
Anybody else have a?
No, so
Question.
Fulda committed $1,500 based on your recommendation or your
Tonight,
thought
yeah.
process.
So, and I told them, and this is how it would go is, so this RDC, we're the grant government agency. So we would put all the matching dollars up front, because that's the easiest way to do it, right? Instead of me trying to get everyone to pay by May 26th, we would just pay all the match, and then in 2028 or 2029, then we would ask for the local agencies to like reimburse us their local. You wouldn't be paying anything this year. It would be probably at the closing rate, says in 2029.
I am confident in our ability to find 1,500.
I am,
Well,
yeah, it does, we have plenty of time to plan for.
yeah, and not that I want the other half of my thought process. I think it'd be all up for a little more than that, given the fact that you look at the potential for how much possibly go here versus Fulham, how many students go here versus Hamlin, and everything. I mean,
I will say that what the final product is going to be is not going to be what you would quote unquote call construction tools, right? You're not going to be able to take what's in the document and give that to a contractor and just say,
Advertise for bid.
Right.
Right.
It's
the amount of work that the engineering firm is going to give you in that design work is vastly greater than $1,500. Like that's good. The amount of work they're doing is tens of thousands of dollars to give you that design work in 2 or 3 intersections or segments. That's where your money is going to be most well spent.
Are you making a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pledge $1,500 towards the patch.
Okay, there you go. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carried.
You're going back to the county board at the end of April.
Yeah, tomorrow I have to be in Lyon County for tomorrow on another matter. So I'll circle back with Maury County on the 21st. And then I'll be in touch with Josh for the grant application. I'm anticipating that each local agency will have to approve a resolution and probably a letter of support. And so I'll need those but that's something you can pass it. The grant isn't due till the 26th, so that's when I need all the.
Perfect. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you coming tonight. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next item, and that is a quote for a pressure washer for public works.
$12,000 in the CIP this year. This is the one for in the shop, the big one heated. Right now it's kerosene and this be a stationary natural gas fuel model. And I can see it's a little bit over budget. It's not to worry about that. It's 50-50 between water and the capital improvement plan. And got selling the old one for 800. The 800 did not come out of thin air. And that's what yes.
That's what they offered.
PSI offered us 700.
I think we get more than that.
We've got a tippers miles for 800. We can certainly do more if you guys are wanting to, as far as like bid or whatever you want to do. Or Facebook. Maybe for like 750.
No, I don't think that's what I saw this originally. I didn't think 800.
So
We got a pick up to list on MinBid, so if you direct staff to sell this that same way, that's not too much trouble at all.
I got a number for a reserve. I mean,
Whatever.
That's seen
Everything functions with it.
it's working. I think we bought it 2018.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was shortly after I got it.
Right up. If they're not, the acceptable things they come, they are. Service has been great. We did go through some state bid pricing on this exact same model, and it was not, in our opinion, not worth squeeze. A little bit cheaper, but don't get the local, it's less than a quote. So I just got those numbers. If they were significant, obviously, we came at you with, but it's not my opinion. And as far as other models too, I mean, this isn't like a huge rush. It's one of my last purchases from the CIP.
Yeah, I know it. I mean,
They're expensive.
well, and like these are at washouts, I hooked the gas lines up to these before. They're very
Awesome.
yeah, they're
Yeah, I think the shelf life on the one we had, it says like, yeah, 15 years, you should think about it, blah, blah, blah. These can last forever. You might never replace. Never know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get
25, 30 years.
extra, little extra cost on this and made up if you get a better.
well, it's better. Well, that too, that, but no, the service that PSI I personally witnessed
Yeah, we've been
very,
very,
very good. So,
I've heard the same thing from other people who've done
they've
this.
been on the ball and quick, and we use it for short. All day. And so stuff that's happened, we had a couple small things where they had to come bring us stuff, and they were the day. They're around the area a lot. All kind of filters into the whole new shop conversation too. We'll have more of a true wash bay on the old shop. It'll be good.
I'll make a motion to approve this and
We'll
the
fill in
other one, the old one, separate motion or all the same,
Oh, one's fine.
and then list that on the invite or whatever.
I'm not be seeing a bill for this anytime soon. They have like 30 of these to put in. So it's crazy. Back to the list. We've got time.
Sure.
So maybe you don't want
That's okay.
You know, we
I'll try to turn that out.
Sure.
You know what I mean? 100%. You can't do that one. We'll get more pieces of date from the installation, and then we'll
Respectively, yeah. All right. Is there a second?
Did I second? Didn't.
I don't have a
There's no
second.
second.
written
I'll
down.
second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no, motion carried. Next time, we're looking at a quote from Excel out at soccer field.
It's something that's been talked about for a couple of years and kind of came together quite quickly because the soccer club got a grant from Monogram loves kids.
Mhm.
And to pay for the vast majority of it. So you can see the letter of commitment there, taking the responsibility of the initial install and the ongoing monthly cost. So the second page, this diagram, and that's actually something I drew up just an option to submit to Excel for a quote for service. And they are going to bore, I believe, from that primary transformer that's to the west there. That's a bigger transformer. So they're going to bore kitty corner there, which we own the land anyway there on the other side of that driveway. So you can see the next page here with Xcel Energy on it, it's $4,580.60. And then the final piece of paper from Engelkis, which is the contractor that the soccer club had contacted, includes that 4,600. So all in is the 7,087.66. And again, the soccer club there is going to come back. So, being as we are the applicant, the concession stands are on our lot, or our service, which will have to probably, that power bill is not going to be very much. So I don't know if we could bill the soccer quarterly or biannually or something. I'm too worried about making sure that they pay there because 7-8 months out of the year it'll be that $12 minimum. Yeah. So the recommendation would be to approve moving forward with that based on the quotes received and to receive the reimbursement.
I'll make a motion for that.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? Not all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, motion carried. The next item is scope for the redevelopment grant. Right?
Yeah, one final comment I forgot to make on the soccer field. The strong goal is to try to get that in for this season. So which is 2 weeks away. So Excel knows that. We had our quarterly check-in meeting. And I stated that a few times. So, and the lead designer, that's actually Derek Martin's boss, said, well, we'll see what we can do. So,
Yep.
so we'll see what they
We'll see what they can do. There you
What
go.
they can do.
Yes, agenda item number 6 is the grant admin proposal from DSI. And so this is what we've been posting in the newspaper for the last 10 days. This would be for the 26 application if funded. You can see their proposal is 20,000, I believe. And then with our match, so the the non-match part is grants to be reimbursed. And so I would recommend approval of that. And tomorrow morning, she will be placing the final documents in our 2026 application and sending it off to the state. It's due by the 5th.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. Or do you need to abstain from this?
This is just the grant ad.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make
If I have, okay, I certainly can.
No, you don't work for DSI or anything. so-
Okay,
That's true.
okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carried. And last item we have is a proposal from Trevor on the restrooms.
Yes, we were out for quotes on this too. I want to intentionally not use the word bids because of we fully intended on that not being $175,000. That's a good thing. And so we posted that in the paper, just like we would any other bidding process for 10 days. And one bid received at the 25,192. And this estimated start date, we think we can bump that up by about a month, actually. I've already spoken with him, so that would be great. Because then all funds have to be expended by the end of this calendar year. From here, it would be rolling into the ceilings, with the equipment costs, like the printing station, and kind of the flooring as another main one as well. So, yeah, moving right along. Would recommend approval of that forward.
We have a motion? Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, motion carried.
So we need to get rid of that pool table.
Yeah.
We have to officially declare that as.
It's on the asset list.
No, I don't think that belongs to the city.
Who's the city?
The Tennyson. Yeah, I'll get finish the meeting.
Yeah, no, I know they're not. The reason I know that is when we had the original, this goes back a long time ago, when I was very young on the council for that library community room piece and whatnot. There was great concern about those access to those pool tables, but they haven't been used since then either. So
It's gonna need to go somewhere.
That's
Gotta go.
the people who owned them and used them died years ago. So
I can go on and bid too.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I just said it's clear.
yeah, someone's got to move it though.
Yeah. Someone got to come and get it.
I just thought if there needed for something else, I should
Try and take that there.
in case. Just needs to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, do everything on there by the time it's started. And declare it surplus. That's fine. We're here.
Let's do that just in case. Blake, would you like to declare it surplus?
I would make a motion to declare pool table, senior center, as surplus item.
Does that include the queues?
Yeah, and the
Associated.
involved and an associated paraphernalia stuff.
Roger that.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Kate. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carried. No further business. Is there a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor, say aye. Aye, meeting adjourned 18:45.